Hi there, it's Kirk. Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. I'm delighted to announce that I've got the drum powerhouse Luana Dametto from the Brazilian death metal band Crypta joining us today. I normally say, how are you? But I'm actually going to start, Luana, with a bit of a different question. What is happening in your life at the moment outside of music? Anything interesting?
Well, that's a tricky question because I feel like my life is just based around music all the time. Now I'm home from like a couple of shows that we've done in Brazil and just waiting actually to go to a show tomorrow again and then keep on touring. But I I would say that except for music, I'm not really doing anything because right now at home I'm practicing like the new songs for Crypta that we have to play live very soon. I'm playing some other stuff that I have to simply get better. I'm always practicing. I'm always like learning songs from bands that I like. And I'm also like also working with a friend right now in like a project just for fun. And so I'm also doing that. So I don't know. I think I'm just doing music right now for fun as well.
Yeah, that's good to hear because I know that especially Crypta, you were very busy on the road touring, especially this year. So do you know that other project? Is it Chaos Rising? Is it called that collaborationist project? Is that what you're involved in?
No, I've been involved with Chaos Rising once, but it's just playing some songs with a friend. Really, it's just like I play music all year round, but we play just the music that I wrote and the stuff that I've done with Crypto professionally. So it is cool to have like an outlet to just play whatever, like yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I understand that. So let's talk about your first introduction to music as a child. What was the first CD that you bought as a child or a teenager?
I don't remember quite well, but I believe the first CD it was either the best of Marilyn Manson or it was or Slipknot Iowa. It was one of those. I'm sure I bought them together, but I think it was the Marilyn Manson the best of.
I remember buying Antichrist Superstar. That would have been around 1998, and it was so controversial at the time. I feel that even I was buying it, because it was controversial, probably not for the right reasons, but that's still a good album when I do
Yeah.
listen to it. I'm proud that I actually bought it as a teenager. So you started, by listening to Slipknot and Marilyn Manson. So which other musical instruments did you play before you started playing the drums?
I started with the drums, but here at my place we always had other instruments. Like we had a tiny keyboard, we had harmonicas for my brother, we had an acoustic guitar, and I don't remember what else, but like a mini like children's accordion kind of thing. But I never really learned any of them. I like to play around with the keyboard, but never really like showed super interest in keep on playing it. Or I had guitar lessons, acoustic guitar lessons before I started drumming for real, but I didn't quite like it as well. So like during the third lesson, I already gave up and was just like, I don't like this. And so I would say the first instrument I actually played was drums.
So do you know this music that you and your friend do just for fun? You said that you're writing this music. Are you writing that from a piano or keyboard? Because I imagine you won't just write a song from drums, will you?
No, my friend is doing the guitar riffs and I'm pretty much doing the drums as always. It's just yeah, very conventional stuff.
I'm surprised that you don't want to experiment with your keyboard a bit more in that music.
I do have a piano here at home and I can play a little bit of this and that, but not very well. And I've done stuff for Crypta in the piano, like writing riffs on the piano instead of singing to them. I just thought that some of them were easier to explain playing in the piano. And also like the intro and the outro for this Shades of Sorrow album. Of course, I didn't play those because that's so professional. I cannot play piano like that. But I've done the main melody and then sent to the guy that could play it properly and like fill with more stuff, like play some some more details to it and not just the bass. But the main melody did come from my piano, so I'm doing some stuff in the piano when I can.
Yeah, it's a good start to the album. The Aftermath is one of those songs, isn't it? So you've given that to somebody and they have scored it, haven't they? They're a composer. They've taken your ideas and then turned it into this neo-classical piece of music. Yeah, it's a great start to the album, I have to say on that. So when you start playing drums, it's well known, isn't it, that Joey Jordison was a big influence on you. Who else or what else helped you to decide that you wanted to explore the drums as a musical instrument?
Joey was the first, as you said, and then I remember at the time I found like a random video on YouTube of Derek Roddy completely like just blast beating from Hate Eternal. And at the time, because I didn't know like any cool death metal or anything, I thought that Derek Roddy was just like a guy at home playing very fast. And I was just like, who is this guy? Like playing this fast and just like blasting away. And I was just like, wow, this guy's like probably one of the fastest drummers I have ever seen. And he's just like this dude at home. Like I had no idea that that was actually like Derek Roddy, one of the most important drummers ever. But after seeing that video, I saw it many times and I was just blown away. And that definitely inspired me to go even further with the blast beats, because I thought it was like the coolest thing on the world. And I still think that. And Achilles Priester also, one of my main influences. I've known his work since I was very little. And I used to buy all the DVDs and books and merchandise and everything. I was just I am still a very big Achilles fan. So yeah, I would say these three back in the days. I didn't know much.
Yeah, that's the good thing though, isn't it? At least with YouTube, you can discover so much music. So I'm a bit older, I'm 40 now, and when I was a teenager, you had to just rely on music reviews. You couldn't have access to music unless you bought the physical copy. So I am grateful for that. And when I think now, I spend a lot of my time watching YouTube, drums and guitar playthroughs and documentaries. It's just remarkable, the content that's out there and how easy it is to get to know the artist. Like, for example, if you do a drum playthrough, think of the Crypta fan base. There's so many people who just want to watch that as soon as it comes out, me included. I just think it's great how we're a lot closer to the musicians now because you show us some of your secrets on social media, on YouTube, for example. So the next question is, you said you had 3 guitar lessons and then you didn't really like it. What do you remember from your first ever drum lesson?
My first ever drum lesson, I think it was with a guy, if I'm not wrong, that came from another city, because here in my city, like, I didn't know any drummers that could have helped me at the time. Like, I didn't know anyone, basically. It was just me starting to play, and I didn't know people that played as well or wanted to help. And then we found this teacher that lived in another city and would come here by bus. And this music genre doesn't exist out of Brazil, but it's like, let's say it's like country, but Brazilian version of it. It's quite different from country, but let's say he played country. And he taught me how to play for a long time, actually. I kept having lessons with him for a long time. I don't really remember how my first one was, but I remember that guy was the first guy to like teach me how to play the basics. Just like the basic beats and to understand the basic like notes and yeah, just the basic. And when I felt like I knew the basic, then I moved on to another teacher that I got to know that liked rock at least. So he could at least show me some songs that I could learn from that were more to what I liked, instead of like learning with country songs that didn't interest me very much.
Are you still grateful though, at least learning a different style? You know, what you said, you started and it was like the Brazilian rustic equivalent of American country music. Did that Do you think that helped you learning the basics in a genre that you don't really listen to?
I think the basics are like the basics. I would, if it was like, for example, a super cool metal guy teaching me the basics, it would be the same lessons, because it's the same thing that I have to learn. But I am always like very pro learning stuff with people that aren't from your genre specifically. It just adds a lot. I didn't have much of that in my life, but I have one friend that is just like this amazing drummer, and he's not a metal drummer. He's just like, he's playing like some tricky stuff online, and that's about it. Like very complex rhythms, and it helps a lot. It helped me a lot to have some lessons with him. So yeah, I'm definitely very pro having lessons with people that aren't from your area specifically.
Yes, I was looking at some surveys that people had done for musicians and what is the most complex genre of music for drumming. And I think number one is quite obvious, jazz, which is just impossible when I listen to that. I just think that is incredible. Number two was Latin, and then number three was metal. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, what I've never really listened. I mean, Latin, is that because the drum, the time signatures are just so different, to your typical Western common time signatures?
I would say it's very similar to jazz in terms of drumming. Like the time signatures can be weird, and you have to have lots and lots of independency. Like all your limbs are doing different things in different time signatures. It's just Latin is very difficult. I cannot grasp Latin still, even though I'm from Brazil. Like I never focused on it, because I feel like I have to focus on so much else in metal already to be able to play the things that I play for Crypta. So I never really focused there, but it is definitely in my list to, like, after I can do things properly in metal, that, I'm a better metal drummer for my band, and I can definitely go and grasp a little bit of the other things as well. It will add a lot to our songs.
Yes, it's because I know that I assume that you're big fans of the band Death. Chuck Schuldiner, unfortunately, obviously died, didn't he, in 2001. And when I heard Shades of Sorrow, there were a few things in there that excited me, that reminded me a bit of the later Death records, like that Symbolic album. But when it comes to drumming, I remember listening to that album Human. Is Sean Reinert? What a drummer! I think he was one of the first probably to bring in a bit of jazz, wasn't he, into extreme metal, and that is just, even now, incredible to listen to that. So I just want to ask you, what we've talked about the first drum lesson. What was the name of the first band you were in, and what can you remember the first ever gig you played as a drummer?
I do. My first band was called Apophysis. The guys from the band are all from my area, so it was possible for me at the time to rehearse and have a band, even because I live like in the very countryside, very out of everything, very far from everything. So yeah, and we started this band when I was 16. They had the band before. I just got in the band when I was 16. And in the first gig that we played, well, actually my very first gig I played by myself when I was 14. It was just like my music school's festival sort of thing. Like I played Smoke in the Water simplified version with my teacher and some students. But my actual real gig that people pay to watch, that weren't like just parents watching, I was 16, and it was like in a very small wooden venue in my area. Just like, I don't know, 50 metalheads in there from the area. And it was with this band of mine, Apophysis. I remember having like this Baphomet kick backdrop. Just random thing that I remember from that day.
It sounds like you have fond memories of it, because you can recall that it was in a wooden hut. There were 40 or 50 metalheads there.
It was very underground. Very underground.
Literally underground.
Literally under.
So before we talk about Shades of Sorrow, just one more question I want to ask on this topic. What do you think you would be doing as a career now at age, I think you're 27, 28, is that correct?
26, but almost 27.
Yeah. What do you think you'd be doing for a career if you were not a professional musician?
I think I would end up being a graphic designer, which was the thing that I did previous to drumming. Not previous to drumming, but like while I was drumming, because I didn't expect that I was gonna be able to live off music and mainly not off death metal.
Yeah.
So I went to university for graphic design and almost graduated. I just didn't graduate because I left university to go on tour, and then I never stopped touring since then. So I never came back to university, but that was what I was doing, and I was like starting to search for work in the area. I was already working a little bit here and there for bands, like helping with layouts and booklets and stuff like that. But I was searching for like real work in the area, like work with logos and companies, slogans, and visual identity, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, that would be the thing.
Do you do any graphic design for Crypta? Did you design the logo?
Well, the thing, I can't draw, like I'm not an artist by any means, but I put stuff together. So like if people send me art, for example, the artwork, I'll make all the t-shirts from that artwork, like remove the swords and change things around, you know, and like try to put things in different positions so we have many layouts from that same cover art, or like get arts from people and kind of fix it and change it a bit and put together. I'm doing the logo we did with a guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly, but it's Christopher Spadil, I don't know. Like he's called the Lord of the Logos. He has done for like, he has a book even. It's the guy that does all the logos basically. And he sent one version for us that we liked, but we like thought it could be a little different. Then I redrew on it, and he redrew from what I've done. So like I don't really draw anything, but I kind of fix it and layout, like do the layouts for the albums, so the designer that has the time can do it at home and stuff like that. Just a little work.
Good. Yeah, I like the artwork for Shades of Sorrow. Certainly the blood red, really strong, isn't it, on the eye when you see that. So Shades of Sorrow, you recorded it in February this year, and Napalm Records released it on the 4th of August this year. So as we know, this is the second album. What pressure did you feel this time round when you were writing and recording your second album for Crypta?
I would say, well, some of the same things I felt on the first one, which is like when we go to the studio, we are not like, at least I feel like I'm never really ready to record, because we have to record at some point. Like we can't be waiting forever till we feel like we're super ready to record, because we leave from this, so it's not really an artistic choice to go there and record when we have to record, you know, we kind of gotta do it. And I feel like I would like many months just playing the songs before I was ready to go on studio to record anything, to make it very easy for me. But it's not realistic for us because we are touring all the time. So when we went to the studio, I felt like I was just like, you know, like I can't play and stuff, but I know it's not gonna be as easy or as good if I recorded this album in like 4 months from now, you know, or if I would be recording right now. Now I would be totally more comfortable with the songs, but at the time I really wasn't. But we had to record, so I had to do my best, and we all had to do our best. But and the other thing that worried me a lot, like more than not just being 100% comfortable with the songs, because we didn't have the time to do that super preparation for that. It was the fact that it was a second album, you know, like it should sound better. Otherwise, I think people would be kind of disappointed, or at least in my mind, that was the thought. Like, this is the second album, we gotta get better. Otherwise, it's just like it's gonna be a fail, you know. Like people are gonna see that we didn't really do much better in this second one. So like, I'm not really prepared, and it's gotta sound better. So, oh well. I guess every album is like that. Every album we want to sound better, and also we didn't have like months to get prepared because we were touring and like living up this thing. So that's always the same.
See, what really struck me about this album, 51 minutes in length, it certainly does not sound like anybody suffered from writer's block. I think you've really pushed yourselves technically, even though Sonia has left the band. The guitar playing is somehow even more technical, and I think your drum work is exquisite. It really is. But you're right. You can sense the anxiety in the music, and you should do. This is death metal, so that's always a good thing. And when I heard it, I think when I'd listened to this album 3 times, I was thinking at the back of my mind, is this the moment in a band's career where you've written your masterpiece? Well, I'm thinking, will you ever better this? Because this is such a strong album from start to finish. Do you ever have that anxiety? Do you not have time to think about that?
We do, especially now, because I mean, we really like Shades of Sorrow. Like, we've been writing it for a long time, and we really like the album. But we are getting some very good reviews for this album. Like, comparing to the previous album, it is way better. Like, the comments we're getting and the reviews we're getting, the attention that this album is getting is way better than we got for Echoes of the Soul. So, like, it seems to us right now that people liked it more than we thought that people would like this album. And now we're starting to get anxious about it. Yes, because we're like, fuck. Sure, like, we like the album, but what now? Like, I mean, this is pretty much what we write. Like, we want to make a better album next album, but also, like, this is it, like, this is us. So we are a little like anxious about it, like, oh my god, now we have to really like push it, because otherwise it's gonna like just stay where it is right now, and that's not we don't want to stay where we are. We're gonna get better.
Yeah, because it stands out. You were already excellent musicians in Nervosa and then on Echoes of the Soul. So we know that, especially you and Fernanda can play their instruments. Tanya Bergamaschi, excellent guitar player. But it still sounds like you've somehow keep getting better at your instruments, even though you're at a very high standard. You seem to be pushing yourselves even higher on this record. Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I think it was. I'm always like pushing myself very hard. At least personally, I can say that. I'm practicing every day, like, not for hours and hours, but at least for 1 or 2 hours per day. I do practice my stuff, so I can also like play the stuff that I play better, because there is always a way to play better what you already know, and to also come up with stuff that I haven't done, or to like modify stuff that I already do but make them sound a little different for the next albums. So yeah, I definitely want to, like, Echoes of the Soul was very raw for me, and in this like new album I added lots of extra details that I didn't have time to add on Echoes of the Soul, and more dynamics, which was a critique that I got a lot from Echoes of the Soul. I heard a lot from people that like drumming that the album was cool and all, but I lacked dynamics. So for this one, I definitely like worked on putting more dynamics and like having parts with ghost notes and having these little, ups and downs, and not just having 100% metal drumming. And for the next album, I want to do that even more. But that's why I gotta keep on practicing and learning with people. Otherwise, it's just not gonna happen. Like, we are all constantly pushing ourselves to play better.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think the lyrics are really quite meaningful on this record. There's a real sense of despair, of depression, but also fighting against the odds, battling through difficulties. It's really surprisingly uplifting, isn't it? Some of the songs on here, they are about survival, aren't they? And again, it's unusual to listen to a death metal album and want to read the lyrics while you're listening to it, because they just stand out to me. And Fernanda's accent, the way she sings, you can hear every word, even though it's really harsh. And that's very difficult to do in death metal. So another standout feature. I mean, like the last song on the album, Lord of Ruins, you've even got black metal influences in there, haven't you? It's not just like Morbid Angel and the Death. There's some really interesting stuff in that. Which song on this album is the most meaningful to you, and why?
I would say two songs actually. It's Lord of Ruins and Stronghold. Lord of Ruins is very meaningful to me because this riff, this main riff, it's a riff that I wrote like even before Echoes of the Soul was released. So it's like this riff that has been just on my computer forever. And with Lord of Ruins, like now it finally came to life and everything makes sense with around the riff and everything. But it was something I've been waiting for so long to release that. So it's really meaningful to me that finally, and it got to be the first single as well. So that's really cool. And Stronghold is definitely my favorite song of the album, I would say. I don't know really why it is my favorite song, but the fact that it makes me really emotional. Some parts of the song just really make me emotional every time I listen and play it by myself. So I think it's gotta be meaningful if every time you listen you feel something about that is special and stands up when you compare to the other songs. So definitely Stronghold.
Yes, that's a very clever song, Stronghold, because I think when somebody listens to Shades of Sorrow for the first time, there's so much going on, they probably might not be able to hear the structures of the songs. So the second time I listened to it with the lyrics and I could easily identify, here's the bridge, here's the chorus, here's the post-chorus. And in this song, you do that first. I think there's two verses, a bridge and a chorus. And then you really tease the listener because you don't repeat that. You almost have like a different song inserted in the middle part, and then it returns to the bridge and chorus. I just thought that was so unique to do something like that. And like the song, I mean, most of the songs are 5 minutes in length, aren't they? So there's really a lot of thought gone into this. So let's just talk about two more things then. So you've completed the record. How much involvement do you have in the post-production stage? I know obviously you've sent it off to be mixed elsewhere, and Jens Borgren at Fascination Street Studios in Sweden has mastered it. Once you record your drums, are you involved at all in any of that in the post-production?
Yeah, we try to be as involved as we can. Of course, not everything's our choice. I think there's always like I was gonna say like the touch from the mixer. For example, like if I was gonna mix my own album, it would probably sound very different, but also like we chose this person to mix the album and it's gonna mix like they mix it. It's always like it's also their mark on the album. So we do give insights and some direction to what we want. We do listen and give feedback, but also there is the branding, the trademarking from the mixer guy. So yeah, and we are involved. Yeah,
he's done a great job. Again, another standout feature. It's so chunky, especially the guitar tone, and really a lot of weight in the mix. So that's what you want from a death metal album. So just two more questions then, Luana. I saw that you did this tour with Morbid Angel and Revocation across the United States, and that was only 1 month after finishing Shades of Sorrow. How difficult was it or easy was it to go from the stress of recording an album and then 1 month later you're doing this tour of the United States with Morbid Angel and Revocation?
I mean, we knew that was gonna happen, so we were like kind of prepared to just record and leave, really. But yeah, it was quite stressful, I would say, because while we were on tour with Morbid Angel, we were also like mixing the album from there. You know, like just start trying to download the archives and all the files from the RV that we were traveling, and trying to listen to the mix in the RV and really give feedback and insights from there. So it was a lot happening at the same time, touring and managing the post-production of the album and managing other things for the album that we had to do from the RV.
Yeah, I can imagine. And obviously, it must be great to be on tour in the United States with, legends like Morbid Angel, but the logistics and also lack of sleep and waiting around after sound check, you probably don't get to see as much as the United States as you would want, I assume.
Yeah, very much.
So, final question then. I always like to end on a light-hearted note. So we know that going on tour is expensive. So, Crypta fans, what gifts, what presents should they bring to a show for members of the band? What do you most appreciate?
Oh my God. I think we're also different from each other. Fernanda likes holographic stuff, and glittery stuff. If anything glittery and holographic, I think she would appreciate. Jessica is a huge Metallica and Iron Maiden fan. Tina likes Gojira. She's really into whales, and yeah, I would say whales. She's huge into whales, and I'm huge into Swedish death metal and Dracula from Coppola and tobacco. So tobacco, Dracula, and old school Swedish death metal is right up my alley. So yeah.
Tobacco should be relatively easy then, because I don't think Fernanda, she doesn't drink alcohol, does she? Because bottles of wine are not going to really, they're going to go to waste, aren't they? You can give them to
yeah. Yeah, can give that to Tina or Jessica. I think they drink it. I don't drink it as well.
So tobacco, you just mean like cigarettes, just standard cigarettes for you?
I only smoke cigars and how do you say that in English? Like tiny cigars, not cigarettes, tiny cigars. Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Okay. So if anyone, when they're watching this, they know what to bring to the Crypta show, so that you can have your fix. Because it's not cheap, is it? Being on the road and
yeah,
getting 3 meals a day is
that's easy, right.
So. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I always feel that I learn so much because I'm not a musician. I'm looking at it from the other side, so it's always interesting for me, and I feel I've learned so much again speaking to you. So, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans in England and Europe before we end this interview?
I would say that just check out the album if you haven't. Get your own opinion on it. We don't mind if you like it or not. Just listen and get your own opinion on it. Because just listen first and then go from that. And definitely check out the shows if we're playing around. It's cool when people show up and watch the band live as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly like playing Germany, and Germany likes Crypta. That is your number one country, isn't it? I think for popularity. Is that correct?
I think from numbers, it's the US, but for some reason, it has been always very easy to book shows in Germany. So, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to speak to either you or Fernanda again in the future for Scream Blast Repeat to do a track-by-track analysis of Shades of Sorrow. But I am very grateful that you've appeared on here. Thank you very much, Luana.